You listen to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.
It is Friday morning, and we have some good stuff to share with you today.
We do.
Vocatio, depending on if you pronounce it as a hard T or a soft T. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, and we have so much more to share with you, and it's time for the weekend as well.
Yes, it is.
Excited for the weekend. Mm-hmm. Thanks to Concordia University, Wisconsin for supporting the Coffee Hour. Find out more about them at cuw.edu. That's cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
See, I turned it around on you, didn't I?
I almost forgot.
Vocatio. Let's learn more about it. It's an opportunity right here in St. Louis at Concordia Seminary to learn more about, opportunities to serve in the church in full-time vocations. Mm-hmm. The Reverend Scott Holder with Admissions and Recruitment at Concordia Seminary St. Louis joining us today. Thanks so much, Pastor Holder, for being our guest.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit about Vocatio and what all we have for our young people there.
Now, what have you seen happen with Vocatio in the past? How have you seen, tell us a story of how Vocatio has had an impact on a student in the past.
Well, yeah, be happy to do that. One of our former students, he graduated from here last year. His name is Joel Newton, and now is a pastor up in Minnesota. But he began his high school time coming to one of our Vocatio events and was a wonderful participant during that time. When he then went to school at Concordia, Nebraska, he came here as a helper for the event because it had been such an impact on him during his high school years. And so he wanted to be able to share that with the participants that were coming on, that were following in his footsteps. And then when he eventually arrived here on campus to begin his work toward the pastoral ministry, he then was one of the more enthusiastic students that we had to interact with the participants. He was the kind of guy that would engage everyone in conversation. He would arrange dodgeball games with them, but then he would sit down when we had the opportunities to just discuss theology, Bible study, pray together. Also the guy that was ready to say, hey, let's work on this together. Let's have a good discussion. Let's think about what it may mean to be a church worker. Of course, being a Concordia, Nebraska guy, he would also promote Concordia, Nebraska a little bit. But he was just so joyful to be able to interact with them and had an infectious smile and an infectious laugh and just really enjoyed getting together with them. But a lot of that was formed because he himself had come as a high school student and been part of the event before.
So that was a full circle of kind of coming in from one end and then being able to be an influence, a good influence on the kids who are there themselves in high school.
Yeah, very much so. He had seen it and done it, and so he wanted to return it and hope for that next wave that we're following him to have the same experience.
Absolutely. So what happens at one of these Vocatio events?
Well, it's a 5-day event where we have a number of different activities that we do. Part of it is, of course, examining the seminary to see what you will be learning here. We have different professors that come and they do sessions with the participants, just teaching a little bit about what they would experience in a theological classroom, and then just some time back and forth with the participants so that they can learn a little bit more. So we do several professors, along with President Meyer, who comes and interacts with them, just finds out their background and encourages them to continue on the pathway where God and His Spirit are leading them. So we have some of those type of activities. Of course, being a group of high school students together, there are some fun activities that we do. A lot of times we'll go down to something like City Museum and spend a few hours down there just to let them burn off some energy, have a little bit of fun together, build up some comradeship with each other. We also do some of the local St. Louis attractions, so we'll go out to lunch at one of the local restaurants, maybe like Fitz's or something that's unique to St. Louis. Of course, you can't come to St. Louis and not go down to Ted Drew's, so we take them over there so that they can enjoy some of the frozen custard. And then just introduce them to one of the local churches, perhaps that has a little bit more of a feel for what's happening here in the St. Louis area, so they get to experience a church other than perhaps where their home church is and see ministry done in a little bit of a different way. We also ask for a panel of different church work people to come and speak with them and interact with them so that they can hear a little bit more about what are the different opportunities, what are the stories that people have had on what led them into church work, whether it's as a pastor, a teacher, a DCE, whatever it may be. And then one of the highlights of the event is also on Sunday afternoon and evening when we have all the different Concordia universities come and do a college fair so that they can see some of those next steps that they would be taking as they graduate from high school and move into college that can do some of the work of forming them into those church work careers. So that's always a big highlight. They get to talk to the representatives from each of them, and a lot of times the pre-seminary directors will be there to encourage them to think about their program, think about serving the Lord in His church by going through those different routes.
So this is an opportunity open to a variety of students. Who can register for Vocatio?
It is open for everyone who's entering 9th grade through 12th grade. So someone who is a high school student that has graduated, they would not be able to attend, but any individual that is going into high school that is thinking about church work, we encourage them to come and check it out because, like I said, it's an opportunity to just think about church work. So being a high school student is pretty much the requirement for it.
And do the students live on campus then for those 5 days?
We do a lot on campus. We actually, because of the size of the event, we stay at one of the local hotels and base ourselves out of that. But almost all of our activities, other than the things that are into the city, are done here on the campus. So the meeting with the professors, meeting with the students. We arrange times to just have some fun events. We contemplate what it could be to be thinking about church work. All of those take place here on the seminary campus. One exception is that we go down to Perry County for one day where we do a servant event down at the Saxon Memorial. So we get to go down there, learn a little bit about the history of the LCMS when it first started and when CFW Walther and all of the initial wave of immigrants came over. Get to see the first seminary, the log cabin that's down there, get to do some work at the Saxon Memorial. We do a servant event down there. And so that's the one event where we really go off campus, but everything else is pretty much here on the seminary campus.
Why is an event like this, an opportunity like this, important for high school students as they're kind of contemplating what they're going to be doing, even if they're not really sure if church work is maybe what they want to do, maybe not? Why is an event like this important for these young people?
It's a great opportunity for them to see that they are not the only ones that may be thinking about church work. I can think back when I was in high school and knowing that all the rest of my classmates weren't thinking about it, I myself wasn't even really thinking about it. But it's a great opportunity to see that they're not the only ones that God is raising up to be leaders in His church who may be going into church work, which sometimes if they're the only one in their church, they may feel that way. So it's a great opportunity to connect with others. Some of these they may end up at college with and get to know some faces there. I've seen a few of them that have struck up friendships that they maintain throughout the school year. They look forward then to the next event that we have for high school students and maybe plan to come and room together if possible so that they can just make that acquaintance again. But it really is a great opportunity for them to see that God is doing His work in their life, that there are opportunities out there for them to serve Him that they may not necessarily have considered or perhaps have given a little bit of thought to, and now it can take on a little bit more of a flesh and blood for them.
So tell us about registration for this year's Vocatio. This is coming up at the end of June, is that right?
It is coming up. The dates of it are June 22nd through 27th. And the registration is found on the Concordia Seminary website, which is csl.edu. When you go to the website, there's a series of tabs that are kind of at the middle of the page, and the event is found under the Admissions tab. So once you would click on the Admissions tab, it would take you to the page, and you would just simply look for the Vocatio event, and there's a link to register there. Once an individual does that, they put their information in there. It comes to me, and then I contact and follow up with them just to let them know that we have it and to get them ready for the event and excited about coming to St. Louis.
Very good. And so you register right there. Registration deadline is June 1st. Is that right?
It is coming up, although if someone gets in within a day or two of that, usually we're pretty forgiving on that. We want to encourage them to come, and if it's something that they need a little bit extra time to think of, we're happy to work with them.
Very good. Anything else we need to know in order to prepare for Vocatio this year?
Just that it is a wonderful opportunity, and if travel costs are something that an individual runs into that are an obstacle to that, they can feel free to contact me here at the admissions office at Concordia Seminary, and I would be happy to see what we can do in terms of assistance, because we definitely don't want cost to be an obstacle to being able to come and think about serving God's church, serving our Lord Jesus.
Very good. And how to reach out to the admissions office if we have questions about Vocatio or any other admissions event?
Okay. They can contact me directly since I am the one that's in charge of the event. My phone number at Concordia Seminary is 314-505-7225, or my email address is just simply my last name, Holder, with my first initial S, at csl.edu. So that's Holder S at csl.edu.
Very good. csl.edu is the website, and you can look for more information in the admissions page as well. The Reverend Scott Holder with Admissions and Recruitment at Concordia Seminary in St. Louis, talking about Vocatio coming up this summer. It's a registration deadline right around the corner. So if you're thinking about it for you, for one of the kids in your family or in your congregation, check it out. Sign up today at csl.edu. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Golseth.